크리스토퍼 맥쿼리 감독님이십니다.
Please welcome director Christopher Mcquarrie.
자, 그리고 이번 작품을 통해 처음 합류한 어거스트 워커에게 헨리 카빌.
Please welcome Henry Cavill.
그리고 미션 임파서블의 마스코트 사이먼 팩.
Please welcome Simon Pegg.
자, 그리고 미션 임파서블 시리즈 아이콘이죠. 톰 크루즈.
And Tom Cruise.
반갑습니다. 그럼 저희도 무대 위로 이동을 하도록 하겠습니다. Take your seat. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to meet you. 자, 자리에 앉으시면 되겠습니다. Thank you. 아, 정말 젠틀맨이시죠? 저렇게 레이디들이 앉을 때까지 기다려 주셨습니다. 자, 미션 임파서블 4아웃은 뭐 대한민국이 사랑하는 초대형 액션 블록버스터인데요. 일단 기자님들을 만나서 인사 한 말씀씩 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 맥쿼리 감독님부터 인사해 줄게요.
Would you all like to say hello to the press? Let's start with Christopher. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to be back here in Seoul. I think Tom and I have been here for every movie we've ever worked on. It's always a wonderful welcome when we come here, and it's great to be back.
Hello everyone, this is my first time in Seoul and I'm very, very excited to be here. And again, echoing Chris's sentiments, it was such an incredible welcome. Thank you so much for that.
Hello, Seoul. It's such a pleasure to be back, and can't wait to show you the film this evening. It's a real joy to be here. I can't tell you, it's lovely.
Good morning, or it's now good afternoon, everyone. It's such an honor for us to be here today to bring this film to you, and I want to thank you all for coming out this afternoon. And thank you always to everyone who met me at the airport for the warm welcome. We're very excited about tonight. We're very excited to show you this film, and we made it for you, so we hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Sincerely, it feels like we never left. From my very first visit here, from the moment we step off the plane, there are people there greeting us at the airport with gifts and treating us like we're family, and it's never changed. It's only gotten better every time we come back.
For me, it's just wonderful to be experiencing a new city, and I've only seen the view from way up high in my hotel room in this hotel, so it looks absolutely extraordinary from up there, and I'm looking forward to experiencing more of it at another time.
I feel so just honored when I arrive in Seoul and I'm greeted by such wonderful people who have brought incredible gifts, so beautifully chosen and wrapped, written letters in English just better than most people who can speak English write letters in English. And it just blows my mind. I love the Korean fans, and can't wait to meet them later on and to show them this film. I'm feeling a little bit emotional about it. I was opening my presents today and I was just like, wow, this is incredible. So I'm delighted to be here.
Very much. I love the graciousness and elegance of your culture in Korea. The fans here, you just love movies. I love being here. And I was very excited when these guys, to be here with my friends. In Henry's first time, it's really, I know it's not, you're going to be here many, many, many times, and you two will be here again, and Chris. And these moments that we always talk about when we're deep into the intensity of making the movie, and to be here right now, it's very special for me, and I really, truly appreciate it, and I am very honored as always. Thank you.
네, 네 분에 대한 한국에 대한 애정이 느껴집니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 맥스무비의 성선혜 기자라고 합니다. 일단 영화 정말 재밌게 잘 봤고요. 감독님과 배우분들께 공통 질문을 드리고 싶은데, 미션 임파서블 시리즈는 총 3편이 한국에서 누적 관객 500만 관객씩을 넘었던 인기 시리즈거든요. 그래서 한국 관객들이 유독 이 시리즈를 사랑하는 이유가 무엇이라고 생각하시는지 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
I'd like to ask this question to all of you. Mission Impossible 3 series actually in Korea accumulated over 5 million at the box office. So I'd like to ask you, why do you think the Korean audience is in so much love of this series of Mission Impossible?
This guy.
No, all of us.
Well, I think the appeal of the franchise, as much as we talk about the action, it's really about the characters. I think without those characters, without the heart, it would all just be spectacle. And I think that's what's so great about working with this cast is what they bring to it and how appealing they all are and the brotherhood you feel in a movie like this.
다음은 헨리카빌 씨.
Well, I think what Tom and all the other actors, especially in the IMF, achieve is quite extraordinary. They have this wonderful team dynamic, and every single time a new movie comes out, they are closer. There's more of a personal connection with them and the audience. And of course, Tom keeps on upping the ante for risking his life each time.
그리고 사이먼 패그신 그냥 바로 톰 때문이다라고 말씀을 하셨습니다.
I think the popularity of these films is me. No, I think.
agree, Simon. I want you to know, I agree. Yes.
No,
Yes.
not at all. You know, it pretty much Henry said it. You know, it's a kind of a story about friends, and like Chris said, these adventures are underpinned by extraordinary, you know, feats of daring do that Tom genuinely puts his entire being into, and I think the audience appreciate that. And every time we do one, it increases. It has to increase from the last one because the last one was possible. So this one has to be impossible again. And you know, it's you just always know you're going to be in for a thrill. This one is just ridiculously no exception, as you will see.
I think the fans can answer that better than I can. All I know is that we all give it everything we have. You know, I've wanted to make movies my whole life, and it's something that I'd never take for granted. And to have this opportunity to make another mission and to have the audience enjoy it the way they do, every single day. To work with Chris McQuarrie, this is our 9th film that we have made together. To have these talented actors in the film, and that we really want to celebrate their work also as, the characters they develop. And I think that communicates to an audience that none of us take it for granted, and we work very hard for you, for the audience. And I'm just very grateful that they are enjoying it, because we make our movies for you. And it's very satisfying to be able to make more and more of them.
네, 이번 작품은 뭐 네 분이 함께 하셨기 때문에 더 많은 한국 팬들이 사랑해 주시리라 믿습니다.
한국 스포츠 경제 양지원 기자인데요. 저는
손 한번 흔들어 주세요. 네.
톰 크루즈 씨한테 질문이 있는데.
Oh, hello. Sorry, just the lights in my eyes. Excuse me.
이번에도 또 그 대역이 없이 액션을 직접 소화하신 걸로 알고 있는데 이렇게 위험을 감수하면서 이렇게 굳이 액션을 하는 이유가 있다면 어떤 건지 궁금합니다.
This question is for Tom. I'd like to ask you, as far as I know, worked on this movie without a stunt double. So I'd like to ask you, is there a reason for you taking on such danger and risk?
For you. To entertain you. It allows us to be able, when you see the look of these movies, and what I like practical action in films. And we're able to put the camera in places that you couldn't. And there's just a different feel that the movie has when it's real. And I'm interested in immersing the audience in the experience. I want them to feel my films, not just watch them. So with every movie that I've ever done, pretty much in my career, that's how I've approached it. And I started this series as a producer, as the first film I ever produced, with the purpose to challenge myself with story, with character, and physically with these kinds of stunts, to be able to put the camera in different places. And and I wanted to be able to travel to different places to explore, you know, the architecture and culture of different countries. And I do that really to entertain you, and that is the purpose. I mean, as I said, everything I think about is quality. Quality for the film is first for me, for the audience, and that's why I do it.
For you라는 그 처음 답변이 굉장히 로맨틱하게 들리네요. 그러니까 모든 한국 팬 여러분들을 위해서 이렇게 모든 위험을 감수한다는 말씀인 것 같습니다. 자, 그럼 이제 다음.
I'd also like to say, I know there's some things. Look, I've spent a long time developing this process to be able to do it. It's training every single day. It's preparation. And when we go into these movies, you know, I actually even oversee their training, their programs for the other actors to teach them how I've done it so that they can go on to their other films if they want and do stunts but be safe. I don't expect actors to do what I do, but if they're interested, I'm always happy to help them in any way because I want them to be safe. It's very, very difficult, and so I don't expect others to do it. But you know, these guys are very talented athletes also, and you know, they're going to go on and you know, they do make other films like that, and they're going to continue to do so.
뉴스토마토의 저 김재범 기자입니다. 톰 크루즈한테 하나 하고 그다음에 배우분들한테 공통되게 하나 하면요. 매번 이제 거의 불가능한 액션 장면을 거의 실제로 조금 전에도 현실감 있게 현실감을 많이 주려고 이제 촬영을 하신다고 하시는데 이 영화를 보고 나면 저도 매번 그 주변 사람들하고도 얘기를 했었지만 이번에도 그러고 그 영화 속에 등장하는 그 액션 장면을 이제 그 디자인을 하실 때 톰 크루즈께서도 직접 참여를 하실 텐데 그 액션이 단순하게 영화이긴 하지만 저게 만약에 실제로도 일어날 경우에 살아남을 수 있는 그 사람이 살아남을 수 있을 정도의 그런 액션일 건지 그러니까 저런 똑같은 사고가 일어나면은 정말 저렇게 그 영화 속의 이 단원처럼 진짜 실제로 살아남을 수 있을까 그런 그 궁금증이 있어서 그게 디자인할 때 그런 부분을 좀 뭐 고려를 하면서 하시는 건지 그 하나 그리고 그 세 분한테 나머지 두 분한테 공통되게 질문드리면 그 옆에서 그 일단은 저 톰 크루즈가 그 액션 장면을 찍으시는 걸 실제로 보셨을 때 어떤 생각이 드시는지 만약에 본인들한테 저렇게 찍으라고 하시면 하실 수 있으실까?
네, 엄청난 액션씬에 대해서 디자인하시는 톰 크루즈 씨는 현실 가능성을 배제하시는지 생각하시는지에 대한 거였고요. 두 분은 두 분도 하실 수 있는지라는 질문인 것 같습니다.
So the first question is for you, Tom, and the second question goes to the other two actors. The first question is, when you design the action scenes, do you really think about whether this is feasible in reality? That's my question to Tom. And the second question is to the other actors, when you are watching the action scenes of Tom, do you think that you could do them too? And do you think you could survive?
Yeah, I think, you know, really it's Chris who's going through and designing these, and we kind of go back and forth on them as, you know, different ideas on these sequences. Different things that I've wanted to do before that he's had ideas on, and it's the collaboration of Chris and I. And, you know, sometimes he'll come up with the whole thing and design it, and then we'll go through it, and we go back and forth. So it's not just me, it's, you know, Chris Mcquarrie. Look at
And I
what
don't
he
have
designed.
to do them, which is what makes it a lot more easy to come up with them.
Like the helicopter, always wanted to do an aerial helicopter sequence. You know, this is stuff McHugh's wanted to do it also. I take my time and I work, you know, step by step on gradients to build up to these sequences. I can't tell you how complicated they are, actually. To try to explain it to someone, you really have to be there and kind of live through it. Because even when I'm flying the helicopter, there's times that I'm also doing camera operating, and I'm talking to, you know, McHugh about the camera and performance, and we're talking about where we are in story at that point, and also with all the other helicopters in the air, not hitting the other helicopters, and, you know, having the rotor blades just a few feet off the wall. and the kind of the challenge of just filming hours after hours in that helicopter with everyone, and that's just one part. And while I'm training for one thing, I'm shooting another and preparing another. So it has that. I've really, and I work with Chris to go through, and we design the schedule to try to make it so that I can get through it. So that's what we do. We really try to figure out how can we do it, where can we put the camera, and is it worth doing for the audience? There's certain things that we go, and the thing is it's story. We're always talking about what's the story. What is the characters going through? What's the story? It's not just a stunt. We're looking for more than that. We want character, we want story, and it also has to be visually quite stunning. So you look at the locations that were chosen and how we approach it. So, and this has been decades that I've worked on these things to develop the technique, how to do it. I've worked with different stunt teams to develop them to a place to kind of, and I'm very, I go through with them in terms of what I need to survive these things and make it so that I can do it again and again and again.
자, 이제는 사이먼 패그 씨 먼저 여쭤볼까요?
Well, I don't have to do those stunts because I got this guy. he does it all for me. No, I love watching the lengths Tom goes to for his art, and I'm always very keen to stress how impressed I am by the fact that he will literally risk his life for his audience, which says a lot about him as an artist and a man, just because it demonstrates a degree of commitment to his craft, which is unbelievable. I love doing stunts, and I would love to do more if the opportunity arises. But I don't know if I would go as far as Tom because I just, he's a one-off. And so if something comes up, I'd like Benji to finish a fight. That's what I'd like to do, to complete a fight. But it depends. By the time we start doing like...
Noted, Simon. Watch the next movie.
By the time we get to... The thing I worry about is that when we did Ghost Protocol, the big stunt was hanging off the Burj Khalifa, which is an incredibly visual and incredibly exciting stunt. By the time we get to Mission Impossible 7 and 8, that one's going to seem like a small stunt compared to what... So I'll be doing those stunts by the time we do...
That's exactly it. I hate to break it to you.
But yes, I would definitely do more, but I doubt I could ever deliver the kind of thrills that this guy does.
네.
To answer the first part of the question, yes, when I see Tom doing that stuff, I'd absolutely love to do it. And it looks exciting, thrilling, and maybe a little scary at the same time as well, which is good for staying alive.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah. On the other side of it, do I think I would survive? And right now, as I stand, the answer is simply no. Because Tom, and I'm being serious, Tom puts in hundreds, if not thousands of hours of training which is required to complete the stunts that he does. It's not just a simple wire rig that he sits in and rides. He is actually flying a helicopter in the mountains, which is hard enough by itself. But then he's stunt flying a helicopter while taking his eyes off his instruments and the ground or the mountainside, which is rushing towards him. All of these things require a vast amount of experience. And Tom works tirelessly to achieve that experience. And so, yeah, I wouldn't survive.
But so do you. But I have to say that these guys both, I know if they decided to do it and they wanted to go, because I know Henry's interested in flying helicopters and learning more about motorcycles and all of that stuff, you will see if he decides he wants to do that, he definitely will be able to do that. And he will definitely
deflect
survive.
just because we're saying nice things about you.
I'm just
You're
being
going to
honest,
shine
guys.
it back.
I'm being honest. You guys work so hard. Look at the training. We call him six-pack Peggles. I won't make him stand up and show you his six-pack of his abs. Very impressive.
네.
Henry, we all know how fit Henry is, okay? But also the physical ability of him. That fight scene that we did in the bathroom, that was a brutal fight that we learned. And it was, he's being flipped time and again doing that. I was very happy that was not part of my choreography, I must tell you, Henry. I just had to get kicked into the stall, you know. It was impressive, very impressive.
네, 안녕하세요. 디스패치의 오명주 기자라고 합니다. 톰 크루즈 씨와 감독님에게 질문 드리고 싶은데요. 그 미션 임파서블 시리즈 이번이 6번째 시리즈인데 매 시즌마다 어떤 변화를 고민하고 계신지 그리고 언제까지 이 시리즈를 하고 싶은지 의견 듣고 싶습니다.
This question is for Tom and also for Christopher. This is the 6th installment in the Mission Impossible series, and I'd like to ask you, for each installment, what do you try to do freshly or newly? And also, I'd like to ask you,
언제까지?
up until when will you continue with this Mission Impossible series?
Who, me?
To both of you.
Oh, sure. I don't know, forever. You know, as long as I can go. I love making them, and you know, we'll just keep doing it, McHugh.
I think so. I can
so.
see the
It's-
last Mission
it's-
Impossible with you in your 90s in an iron lung.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be thrown out of the airplane in a wheelchair. It'll be awesome.
Exactly.
The last mission will be trying to digest a meal. That's what will be impossible.
Absolutely. Navigate a staircase. But the other part of the question was,
I'm sorry, what was the first part?
what
What
do
do
we do
you
each
try
time?
to change every time?
Having worked on 2 of these, really 2.5, and
Three.
I had the privilege of being on the set for Ghost Protocol and watching Brad Bird go through this process.
He's being humble. He wrote Ghost Protocol. He was uncredited. Saved us there on that one. Thank you very much, McHugh.
That's very kind of you to say. They were
Just
doing
true?
okay. He'd done all the hard stuff by the time I got there. But what we did when we approached Rogue Nation was not try to top the other movie. It was more about trying to make a movie that was worthy of the franchise, and not thinking in terms of making it bigger and bigger, but really more about the story, focusing on that. The action tends to present itself, and we tend to come up with a relatively small idea. In this movie, we started with, really, I think the first stunt we came up with was the payload, just falling from the helicopter, without really knowing what the sequence was around it. And Tom and I always talk about silent films, Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and one of the other things we talk about a lot is the early Disney films, Fantasia being one, and what Tom describes as a pebble rolling downhill. You start with something very small and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more out of control. All of that comes down to the character and the way Ethan interacts with those sequences. If there's any rule of Mission Impossible, it's that Ethan doesn't want to do the things that he's doing. And that's where a lot of the humor and the character comes from, is the fact that he's not a daredevil, he's not a superhero. And that's what I think makes him the hero that he is he does these things despite wanting to do them.
톰 크루즈하고 맥커리 감독한테 질문 하나씩 드리겠습니다. 톰 크루즈는 이번에 건물하고 건물 사이를 건너면서 실제로 부상을 당하기도 했는데, 아까 뭐 얘기도 나왔지만 대역이나 컴퓨터 그래픽 없이 액션 연기를 해야 한다는 자신의 철학에 대해서 솔직히 후회한 적은 없는지, 한 번이라도 후회한 적이 있으면 언제가 있는지 좀 얘기를 해줬으면 좋겠고요. 맥커리 감독한테는 영화에서 나선형호를 그리면서 폭포로 들어가는 헬리콥터 촬영이 있는데 아주 어려운 기술이라고 들었거든요. 헬기들이 추락할 때 그런 동선을 실제로 보이면서 떨어지는 경우도 있는데, 그래서 감독으로서 이 장면을 촬영할 때 상당히 긴장했을 것 같은데 실제로는 좀 어떠했는지 이걸 좀 말씀해 주셨으면 좋겠고, 한 가지 좀 추가로 헬리콥터 시퀀스에서 톰 크루즈가 헬리콥터 조종하고 카메라 조종하고 연기를 3가지를 동시에 다 한 것으로 알고 있는데 따로 돈을 더 챙겨줘야겠다는 생각은 안 했는지 궁금합니다.
네.
The first question goes to you, Tom. I heard when you were doing the sequence, the scene where you were jumping from building to building, You used no stunt double, and you didn't want any CG. So I'd like to ask you, also heard you were injured in the process. So I'd like to ask you, have you ever regretted doing your own stunts? And if so, when did you regret this? And the second question goes to director Christopher Mcquarrie. In the scene where the helicopter does the 360 degrees dive, I heard that helicopters actually do that spiral dive in reality when they do drop at times. So I'd like to know, I'm assuming you were very tense when you were shooting that scene. So what was it like shooting that scene is the question for you. And also when you were doing the helicopter scene, Tom was taking on many different roles. He was thinking of the cameras, he was also acting. So did you think maybe you should pay him more for that scene?
탐 크루즈의 답변부터 드릴까요?
What was the first question again? Oh, regret, yes. No, listen, I've broken so many bones in my life. I wish I didn't break my ankle on the movie, that day. I knew the moment I hit the wall, the ankle was broken. I was like, oh, geez. So I just had to, I looked down, you could see, and it's in the movie, that take is in the movie, and I look down, I see my ankle, and instantly my producer hat is on. I'm thinking, okay, I got to get past the camera so that we have this shot. I'm thinking, what am I going to tell, McHugh, get me over there, we're going to go through it. They had to shoot Henry the rest of the day, and I was thinking, how long are we going to be shut down for? So, listen, there are moments when I'm doing these things that, I'm not going to lie, where I'm thinking, maybe this was not such a good idea.
You think?
Yeah, a couple of times. But I've already said I'd do it, and I was promised McHugh I'd hang off the side of that airplane. It was like, we're here, might as well get it done. But listen, it's very exciting, it's very challenging, it's at times very high adrenaline. There's a lot going on, and we just do the very best we can. But these are stunts that we're doing. They are dangerous, and we do it for the audience.
As for the helicopter sequence, the lesson we learned from Tom jumping from building to building is there are no small stunts. Each and every stunt has its own level of danger, its own level of risk.
That was supposed to be the easy day.
What's
that was our easy day of just sprinting all day
yes.
and me just jumping from building to building.
That was the simplest stunt of the movie, and one little thing goes wrong, and it changes the course of the film. When Tom is doing that spiral in the helicopter, he had been rehearsing that move for quite some time. I never worry about Tom when Tom is the only variable. If Tom is on a motorcycle, if Tom is driving a car, if he's flying an aircraft, I know what a professional he is, I know how focused he is. It's when you start to introduce other variables, other drivers, other cars, other obstacles, weather, those are the things that concern me most. I will say when he was doing that spiral, two things made it more complicated. One, from where I was, I could not see how far Tom was from the cliff face or from the ground. So no matter how much he was assuring me it was okay, it never looked like he was okay.
And I had to be very close to that cliff face when I was doing it for the shot.
Yeah, you were very close. And I could never tell if he was a few feet away, a few inches away. So each spiral looked like he was going to crash. And we just had to hold our breath and wait until Tom finished the maneuver. That's the one scary thing. The other scary thing about the helicopter chase is I had to be there. I'm used to being on the ground in another room, with a cup of tea and watching the monitor. And Tom is the one risking his life. I'm never the person actually up there having to follow him around and do that. And this was one sequence where everywhere Tom was, I had to be there, and also Henry had to be there.
Yeah. Guys, you should see Henry also. These guys are in different helicopters, but Henry is in that helicopter in New Zealand, and you see the shots where his hair is, he's going 0G. That's all real footage. That is not shot anywhere. That is totally live. It was freezing in there.
Very cold.
And he's firing that machine gun, almost getting thrown out of the helicopter. And I remember the first time you looked outside the helicopter to see when you're firing the gun, and you're like, oh, oh my gosh. I could literally see, I was so close to his tail rotor, I could see your face. You kind of went, oh, like we're so close. That took a lot of courage to be there.
I had no idea that Tom was that close. I mean, I the first time I stuck my head out, I was like, okay, I know he's somewhere nearby, right? And it's going to be some trick of cameras, and he's going to seem closer. I could see the whites of his eyes. I could see his full expression, and he made eye contact. We made eye contact.
Yes, we made eye contact.
We locked eyes.
And I was thinking in my mind, it's going to be okay, Henry. It's going to be okay.
and then what scared me the most was when he smiled. He clearly knew he had a brief moment where he could get away with one smile. He smiled at me as I saw him closing in on my helicopter, and I thought, I may have made a terrible mistake signing onto this movie.
What am I doing? That was amazing, though. But every morning, McHugh and I would go in, and we'd see you in the heater, and in between takes, it was so freezing. And I just have to say, it is a team effort making these movies. You cannot make these films without the contribution of everyone. I cannot stress that enough. And you know, these guys, their dedication in every way. Every day, I couldn't wait to get to set to see them and work with them. It was, it's so much fun. It's what I love most about movies. You know, something that's very, you know, very extreme. People who are at the top of their game, professionals pushing, and all thinking of that for an audience. And every single day, you know, Simon and Henry, McHugh, we just had, you know, it's very intense, but we just had a lot of fun working with each other. And I always knew they had my back when we were working. No matter what, Henry was there in New Zealand, and every day he was getting in that helicopter when we were going. It was aerial sequences are incredibly difficult to do, and this sequence was very ambitious. And same with Simon and McHugh every day, and they know I have their back, and it's a real privilege.
And the third question was, did you ever think of paying Tom more because he took on more than one role?
Do I think of paying? Oh.
Well, whatever they're paying
paid
Tom
more.
is not enough. If I was the one writing the checks, I would just sign my name and let him fill in whatever number he thought was appropriate.
네, 아 정말.
But the truth is we'd actually probably, you know, it's nice getting paid, but honestly, we'd all do this for free, you know, because it's.
Don't say that, because that's.
Yeah, don't print that.
At the very least, do it for rent.
It's a producer, exactly. Right? Just pay for the rent.
Yeah,
it's just too,
and
you know, it's a passion for us, and we love it.
오마이뉴스 이선필 기자입니다. 이 질문은 그 사이먼과 헨리 카빌 씨에게 드리겠는데요. 여러 가지 역대적인 첩보물 수지가 많았는데 이 미션 임파서블만의 DNA가 뭐라고 생각하시는지 궁금합니다.
This question goes to Simon and Henry. I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the DNA at the heart of the Mission Impossible series?
I think Mission Impossible it's kind of about the team, even though front and center is Ethan, and Ethan has been the
about family and friendship.
Yeah, and Ethan
Honor,
has been the consistent sort of
Am I
figure.
answering the question?
Yeah,
sorry.
And obviously Ving has been there since the beginning as well. But Ethan's team has often shifted and changed. Particularly in the first one, he loses almost his entire team. He does lose his entire team, and he's had different teams. The most recent sort of iterations of the film, he's had a core team, of which I've been very lucky to be a part. And that's where it differs from other spy franchises, I think. You know which one I'm talking about. Because it's about a family and about a group of people that are relying on each other. And this one particularly is about Ethan, who's our hero. It's about his inability to let his team go, you know, and how much of a good thing or a bad thing that is. Turns out it's a good thing for me, because I don't get killed. Or maybe I do. But yeah, I think that's what Mission's about. It's about people relying on each other in extreme circumstances.
And also, aside from all of that, what they achieve as actors is showing us, the audience, these super heroic feats and yet allowing us to connect with these characters by showing them to be petrifying and scary, and they somehow make these superhero characters into everymen at the same time. And that's extraordinary, and I think that's one of the key components of this.
네, 제한된 시간만이 아쉬울 뿐입니다. 이제 마지막 인사 한 말씀씩 감독님부터 청해 듣도록 하겠습니다.
Yes, we'd like to hear final remarks, starting with you, Christopher.
I think more than anything, I'm excited to be here back in Korea, and I'm excited for everybody to see Mission Impossible. I've never worked on a film where I've seen people work as hard and give as much of themselves to the movie. All the actors, the crew, everyone, and I'm so very proud of this movie, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yes, this has been a long time in the making. We've enjoyed making it enormously. We put all of our heart into this, and it's a very, very exciting time for us to finally start to see audiences enjoying it.
Absolutely agree. Thank you for your questions today. It remains for us to be able to give you this film, which we've all worked so hard on, broken bones for, spent many, many days working on, not least our fearless leader here, Mr. Christopher Mcquarrie. And I'd like to thank Tom's ankle for healing as quickly as it did. Just strap yourselves in and get ready for the ride of a lifetime.
I want to thank you all for coming out this morning, this afternoon. Sorry, I'm still a little jet lagged. I apologize. It's such a privilege to be here. I cannot wait for everyone to see the film. And I know my friends and I have worked very, very hard to entertain you and give you the highest quality of cinema experience. And we're very excited about the premiere tonight. And thank you. Thank you very much.
네, 오늘 이렇게 정성스럽게 답변해 주신 탐 크루즈, 사이먼 페그, 헨리 카빌 그리고 크리스토퍼 맥쿼리 감독님께 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. Christopher, we'll start from the center. Could you cruise for the center? Yeah. And left side, left. Right. Thank you very much. You may leave the stage. Yeah. 자, 다음은 헨리 카빌 배우를 모시도록 하겠습니다. 헨리 카빌. Would you please push for the center? 너무 멋지시죠? 목소리도 멋지시고. Left. Left side. Yeah, left side. Center one more time. And right hand side. Thank you very much. Henry, thank you. You may leave the stage. 자, 다음은 정말 미션 시리즈의 재미를 책임지고 있는 분입니다. 사이먼 팩 배우님 모시겠습니다. Okay. Would you please pose for the left side? Center. Right. Thank you very much. Okay, finally we have 탐 크루즈 배우를 모시도록 하겠습니다. 탐 크루즈. Would you like to pose for the center? 사이먼 페그 두 분 배우님 함께 나오시겠습니다. 자, 그럼 배우분 세 분샷 함께 하도록 할게요. 오케이. We'll start from left hand side. 아, 너무 멋지시네요, 세 분. And center. Right hand side. 자, 그럼 이제 감독님까지 오시도록 하겠습니다. 크리스토퍼 맥쿼리 감독님 나와주십시오. It's all together. Okay. 자, 이번에도 역시 센터부터 가도록 할까요? Pose for the center. Left hand side. Please go to the left. And right hand side. Okay. Why don't you wave your hands to the press? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. 네, 정말 대한민국의 뜨거운 애정을 보여주신 세 배우님과 감독님 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 여러분들 지금까지 탐 크루즈, 레드카펫을, 사이먼 페그 그리고 크리스토퍼 맥쿼리 감독님과 함께 하셨습니다.